unalienable birthrights which the common law guarantees. In other words, Parliament has no right to even purport to suspend all of the rights that are guaranteed to us all by birth by virtue of the common law. Now that's underpinned, of course, by the Constitution, which people think of as being unwritten, but it's not. The English Constitution, which became the UK Constitution after the Acts of Union, that applies to everybody in the United Kingdom, and it guarantees that under no circumstances will Parliament ever be allowed to act like a tyrannical dictator, which is exactly what it's been doing since the start of COVID-1984. But there is another point which needs to be made, which again few people have been able to consider, because there's been so much information flying around, there's so much propaganda, there's so much fear-mongering, and there are so many government-controlled accounts that are trying to control the narrative, and there are obviously a lot of attacks against people like us, but nevertheless we've developed sufficiently thick skins to continue and set aside all of that chaff, because what we're looking at here is a genuine opportunity for once to take an issue before a jury as the people, but with the support of some senior legal professionals who are not part of the system. They are speaking out, they are risking their careers because they know it's much more than their careers that's on the line. It's freedom.
And you have some of them on board.
In the New Testament and into real gold and real silver, and that they are saying that both are equally good investments and that they are anticipating an increase of a minimum of 5 times the current value. So if you look at gold at a couple of $1,000s an ounce, 5 times is $10,000 an ounce. So that is quite a jump, and that is a very healthy return on your investment. And again, silver, a minimum of say $11, $12 an ounce to $60 an ounce. That is again a very hefty climb. So this is what they've talked about consistently is a system that is based upon a gold and silver standard. And again, what we were, and that's why in the last couple of podcasts we have shared it with you, and I'll do it again today. We were encouraged to share with others that the cryptocurrency is not considered by this system, and therefore will not have a one-to-one exchange value. So if you have cryptocurrencies, they are encouraging people to exchange back into the current system for now, which any investment in the current monetary system will have a one-to-one exchange into this new quantum financial system, which is real money backed by real actual wealth. So I just wanted to share that with you, and then back over to you, Josh.
Yeah, so really essentially it's taking out the third hand that would be taking the wealth from people, so
turns
it's
on a few
able to be used in a proper way
you can tell
where people can grow at a rate which is going to make everybody more wealthy than they are at this current time. So don't have fear of what's coming, always look forward to the bright side, because you always have the earth which can give you abundance in any situation by just planting the fruit and living like a rich as you should. If this system's coming forth soon, it continues through the realm, but there's going to be different coding. That all mortgages in the UK are actually fraudulent, and this does go across the whole of the world. But if you write away to, this is going to be from memory again, to the land registry, and you ask for an AP1 application form, this is to cancel the mortgage and to get all of your money back, and to be able to get the allodial or the allodium title. And how this is because one, the conveyancing solicitors legally advised you to sign a mortgage before you actually had the money from the bank that you required to buy this property. So they actually have granted you a mortgage before the monies were available. And this has been proven many times in court, And I think there was one with, I can remember Scott versus Southern Pacific Mortgages. And if you just look into that, you get your AP1 form and you basically inform them that you're advised by a conveyancing solicitor that you could have a mortgage before you actually had the monies in the bank. This is an illegal mortgage and you can actually claim your money back. Everyone who gets a mortgage is entitled to be indemnified by the Chief Land Registrar. And this is for all the losses incurred, which would be every single payment that you've ever had, even the down payment. So have a look into that. A long time ago, I think there was the Benicia. So Michael Benicia, he had a channel, and he was expressing this a few years ago, trying to get a few people that he could get everybody's mortgages payments back for them who was a part of this group in one big case. There's no need to go to court. There's no need to do anything like this. It's just literally a simple AP1 form. But have a little research into that and you may be able to get yourself some currency back before the switch, which would be a nice smile for most people in the UK if they have got a mortgage or ever had a mortgage.
Right, exactly. Thank you, Josh. And what we've also shared with everyone as well is that, and we can guarantee everyone that they no longer have these forms because what another thing that you need to know, this is sort of the backstory to everything that Josh has been sharing with you today, is that all of this has been done with sleight of hand from the sea, right? This is why it requires currencies, because you have to have currents to allow the subterfuge to flow from the sea onto the land. So that's why you have to have currencies to allow this illegality to flow upon the land as lawfulness. And these currencies are all flowing from this massive island at sea. And so when people say that all roads lead to Rome, they don't. It leads close to Rome, but it's not Rome. All the roads lead to Venice. And the reason why the Phoenicians shifted their headquarters from Phoenicia, which is on the eastern end of the Mediterranean Sea, on the rolling hillsides on the Mediterranean seaside of the Holy Land, the reason that they moved to Venice is very, very fundamental, because it absolves them in their eyes of all guilt or criminality to everything that they're doing. Because what they're doing is that, yes, they know that they're casting a spell, they're casting black magic, but they're doing it on the sea, and they're allowing these specious laws of the sea to flow upon the land, and then we consent to them. So nowhere along the line are they, in their eyes, are they ultimately responsible for any of this. So Venice, and your true original documents to every loan that has ever been signed, no matter where you live, no matter who you are, big or small or whatever it is, they're all stored in Venice. And when this takedown of the cabal started, believe me, they took the head of the Hydra off first. Now that's something that we haven't even gone into detail yet, but that is the big story, the big piece to all of this, is that they took the head of the Hydra off first. And this is why you see all of these minions in chaos and confusion, because they keep phoning Venice and no one's answering. So all of your records are stored, your true original copies are all stored in Venice. So another quick little thing for you: if you ask for any loan, including the mortgage on your house, if you phone your conveyance, so whoever has provided you with this mortgage, so your bank, let's say, and you contact a person in the mortgage department, you have every right in the world to demand to see what is called the true original copy. All of the true original documents for every loan that anyone has ever conveyed are held in Venice. Venice was taken down so that all of these true original copies no longer exist within the system. So when you demand of your mortgage company or your car loan company, whatever loan you have, when you demand, which is well within your right, for you to be able to see the true original copy of your agreement with them and they can't provide it, that loan, that mortgage, whatever it is null and void. And then all you need to do is within a couple of weeks is contact 3 different reclaimment companies and let them know that that your loan has been nullified with this bank in this number, and then they have a couple of weeks on their own to verify that this information is correct, and then they can no longer have you on their records, and nor can they hassle you with attempting to reclaim payment on a loan that no longer exists. So once again, that is called the true original, and I guarantee you they no longer have, no matter who you are, no matter where you live, they no longer have the true original copy of your agreement with them. So back over to Josh.
So I think it takes about 10 minutes for that original copy to be gone. But that is a great way, and this is across the board with any type of loan at all. But if this is scrambling the mind, this is what it's designed to do. Yep. And you can get lost in this world of information for many, many years. And to free myself when I was a young boy from this, because I was alone on my journey for such a long time, I had to really understand the workings of the law to free myself. So I got to a point of synchronicity. And in that point of synchronicity, the truth just blew through me, through my vessel, and I was able to see clear. So the most important thing that we can do is not really focus on all these legalities, because they cause us a lot of stress, they cause us a lot of negative vibration. And in trying to free yourself, it causes a massive strain. So again, revert to the person and the man. Now, if you choose to be godly and righteous and you move to the right side and you want to be the truth, I suggest that you ignore all of these left-sided laws and how it makes you feel or trying to free yourself from them, and just get to grips with the person and the man and nature, God and consciousness. Because you can easily walk away from the system if you are a man.
We only need 20% to really change things, and to change them quickly as soon as we unite together. And because it's YouGov, we can add at least 10 to that. So if we're approaching a third, or we're just over a quarter of this country is actively looking for ways that they can stop this unfolding any further, well, we've come a hell of a long way since the beginning of this.
Yep. If not now, then never. And, you know, the more they push and provoke and prod us, and the longer this shit show gets dragged out, and the more people start suffering personally, financially, the more it affects them very close to home, those people will come on board. Because what have you got to lose when your back's against the wall? They're going to push us so far that that kind of reaction is going to become inevitable.
Absolutely, because the one thing that they can't control, and they do know this, the social engineers, the controllers behind the curtain, they all know that the one thing that they can't control is the unpredictability of mankind when its collective back is pressed against the wall. And never, I've looked at history, I haven't read about a period when so many people right across the world had their backs up against the wall as they do right now. And they can't control the unexpected nature of us. And what is happening, and they never expected this to happen, is it's not conspiracy theorists who are standing on the front line alone, the nutters in the corner of the room, saying things they can't prove. It's actual researchers and experts in their field, scientists, epidemiologists, etc., who are standing up and saying this is provably, demonstrably, completely and utterly erroneous. All of it is founded on fraud, and that's why we're going to win without it descending into that dystopian nightmare that they've got planned for us. We're going to stop it because too many of us are already aware and are actively resisting already.
And if it can be shown, and obviously it can, that COVID-19 just doesn't exist in the way they're telling us it does, because it's not been isolated, it's not been proven to exist. And so if all this tyranny has been brought in with the virus as the excuse for it, as the apparent justification, then none of the tyranny can be justified when it can be proven that there was never any threat from a virus in the first place. So everything collapses, even by their own standards.
Yes, exactly. But there is also the element of controlled demolition, because we have to look, and I'm not going to get personal by naming names, but would you agree, Mark, that there is a large part of the so-called resistance that is being currently controlled?
Absolutely, and it's always been that way. The difficult thing is working out who falls into which category, because every single researcher, every single activist on this scene has been called out at one point or another as a shill or controlled opposition. I've been called out in that way. I've had that accusation levelled at me, and I can't be 100% sure about anyone else, but I know about myself, so I know that I've been erroneously called out as a shill. So if I have been, then others would have been erroneously called out as well, and the difficulty is working out who the charge actually sticks for and who's being wrongly accused of it. It becomes an absolute quagmire and so difficult to navigate and make sense of.
Yes, that's correct. That's why you need actual evidence to be able to demonstrate an accusation before you make it. And whilst I'm not naming names, I am saying that over the years, because I originally, after my film career was foundering on the rocks because of getting blacklisted when I wouldn't do what I was told. Basically, when I reinvented myself and came back and put my head above the parapet in 2008 and started speaking out about all the things that we're talking about now, about how it was already pre-planned in United Nations agendas 21 and 30, etc. That the EU was kind of a prototype for the totalitarian bureaucratic dictatorship that they planned. And they've been unfolding it over the years, and this is the problem. They're programming the activists to accept the wrong solution, and anyone who's got a solution that might actually bring an end to all of this is being removed from lists of the so-called leaders of the resistance. And I and two other people have amassed evidence that this is the same gentleman who's been managing the controlled resistance since 9/11 in the UK for MI5. And he's so well known that if I did say his name, it would set a shitstorm going. And, we haven't got time for that kind of thing at the minute. But to have the knowledge of that, to have the personal experience of attempts to shut down myself when I've been on lists of speakers to speak at those events, there's been a concerted effort to prevent me from doing so. And the one reason for that is because, in addition to the criminal action that I'm part of, that we've discussed, I also put out Magna Carta 2020, a new declaration. Controlled social
just doesn't exist in the way they're telling us. To destroy that.
I'm to take it all out now. Love is the mystery, unfolding blissfully, unraveling politics, defying history. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, don't be
warrior spirit, the sacred masculine principle of take no shit, the self-defense principle.
Yeah.
A lot of effort has been put into water all that down and to remove masculinity. And I think we're seeing that now. But as you say, the real acid test is going to be these cities, and, people will get pushed so far, and then hopefully that warrior spirit will re-emerge and...
Don't be afraid, don't be afraid,
Welcome. I'm inviting you here to get the most out of this website. The way that's going to happen is to understand it's a collection of playlists, video playlists, articles, information. Find the subject, immerse yourself in the subject, have some questions, understand most of the videos are links to playlists. Within that playlist you can really get deeper in the subject. In each page you're going to find a collection of information in relation to certain subjects. So you can really get deeper understanding and create your own answer. Decide what healthy actions to take, decide what further research to do, decide how else to enjoy your life. You're going to love this website, check it all out. Use the information, it schools and law, it's different systems, all aspects of health are covered.
don't listen to the lies, criminal activity, all the lobbyists and politicians trying to confuse you and me. Don't believe what they say, no. Even
So people might conclude that shows that Johnson and co are under instruction from the kind of forces to keep the tyranny.
That's right.
Tyranny ramped up.
And the survivors from the baby boom generation, they're also speaking out as well in great numbers.
That's right.
Because I think they feel guilty about trusting government for all these years because of where it's taken us. I mean, what kind of place is this to live when the average age that someone leaves their parents' home is 35?
And most people don't ask for much out of life. You know, the average person just wants to live freely and live their life as they choose, free of coercion and free of violation of their rights. That's all. Just do no harm and live freely. That's all we're asking.
Exactly.
Apparently that's too much to ask.
In Magna Carta 2020, it sums it all up as do no harm, cause no injury or loss, or take no shit from anyone. In other words, defend yourself with all reasonable force necessary from anyone who seeks to do you wrong. That's what the common law is.
That's right. Do no harm and take no shit. There's everything you need to know about how to live in that one sentence.
Bingo.
Yeah. All right, Michael, thanks for coming on today, bro.
It's been a pleasure.
Similar actions before that have been
people here. Barack Obama's is another one of these symbols, and
you've heard rumors that Michelle is Michael and that he first gay black man in the White House, and
because of the great powers that the Baphomet had. So once I want to quickly speak to that again. I mean, we were absolutely
need them to do, because not all of this
special in some way. I'm sick, but
and so just taking a deep breath right now, wherever you are, just letting these sounds of Madrecita Pachamama be here with us, wherever we are. If we're in a house or in a room, or if we're outside right now, just invite you to feel through your feet, through your roots. If you can, be barefoot. Just spreading your toes and just feel down into this beautiful earth. And take some few breaths together, just offering the beauty of this moment, this offering. Know that right now, all around the world right now, our relatives are all tuned in right now to this feeling in space and time.
A round of applause.
In just a moment.
Fucking pay up.
So cherishing it, breathing in deep into yourselves.
Constructed these documents the way you do it, they've got to be answered by a man or a woman. A corporation isn't a man or a woman. If you look at on the screen, it's projected onto the wall at the side there, and what's up on the telly that's running off the laptop that we brought up with us, there's words that's been put up, the explanations that go with them. They help you understand what some of these words are about. So when you do these processes, you're basically notifying the same, right, I'm not interested in actually doing this corporate entity that you think I am. Myself and Billy, I don't know if Billy's going to come up and do a talk. As far as I'm aware, we're the only two guys in Scotland that have taken ourselves right out of the system. We don't claim any benefits whatsoever. We do our own thing. we look after ourselves, we support ourselves. I just don't claim anything. I'm not into anything that they want to do. I did mine, Billy's did his a wee bit longer than mine. I did mine in 2009. The setting up to come into force on the 2nd of January, the 2010. The 4th of January 2010, I then went to the local police station and I served the documents, the completed document, the default notice onto the police. And the way I phrase it is, I'm passing through. I'm just passing through. Wherever I go, I'm just passing by. That's my way of looking at it. I don't own anything. I own this body. That's it. So the clothes that I own, the shoes I've got on my feet, I didn't use them. If anybody else wants to actually use it, because a lot of the time I go out my bare feet anyway, I prefer to be grounded. Aye, I've done it all my life. So all we can do with anything that we've got is actually use it. If you're going to have to get into the court, which I do like doing, everybody will tell you I get. My phrase is, and it's on the front of Pete's motor out there, Nala says, "Hey fun, keep smiling." And that is my phrase, because I think if you're not having fun when you're doing any of this stuff, you're doing something wrong, because you should be enjoying it. You should be enjoying life. You shouldn't be getting tense. You shouldn't be getting wound up. Really, the way I look at things, the only one that can wind you up is yourself. Anybody want to argue with that point? Because you're the one that winds yourself up if you get wound up. That's the way I look at it. The ones that know me is, I'm relaxed, I chill out. I don't get wound up. I don't wear a watch. Time has passed. When I get there, I'll be there. That's it. It's a very straightforward, simple concept. Why be caught up in time? There's a lass in here that everybody knows. Jokingly, I refer to her as John Cleese's clockwatch, because the life is ruled by a clock. It's got to be that, it's got to be that. No, it doesn't. So it's now, it's past, it's now. Again, you can't go back the way, you can't go forward. We're always here and now. So that is basically how I deal with everything. When I get there, I'll deal with it. Alright. Alright, okay. See you later, Jaffa. Right. When I get to dealing with the court, when I arrive there, I don't really have any plan, action or anything to go by. I just go on the floor. And if I feel they're being belligerent with them, I'll definitely be belligerent. I'll noise them up. As everybody, I think, has spoken so far, it says you've got to lose the fear. Don't be fear of whatever it is you want to do. One of the phrases I use, I can steal it after an advert that used to go about years ago, was the Scottish Health Education Board. Be all you can. Be you. It is, because that's all you can do is be you. But this is when you get into the English construct. That word, you. Who am I talking to? Anybody want? You? Who is it? I mean, you look at getting into the court, the document you get for the court, it's got the charges against you. You've got, up above it, they give you the all caps name, the birth certificate bit, where it belongs to them. So if it's theirs, let them play with it. Why actually argue with them? Okay, if it's yours, keep it, because I don't want it. I don't use it, so you're not going to force me to use it either. So that's the way I look at it. But when you look at that word you, in English, it's a plurality, because it could be any one of yous sitting out there. So I'm like, well, who's you? Is that you, or is it you? Is it you up there? Who is it? It's certainly not me. So, well, the phrase we like to use is, are you addressing me? It's using, if you're going to use words, find the right word that fits the script, because it's an act. What do you get in an act? You get a script. Every play has got a script. Somebody writes it out, so your Joe blogs and your Josephine blogs. That's what your lines are, that's what you're going to say. You can't deviate for the script. When you look at their construct, they don't like it if you go in there as procurator in rem suum. A wee bit of, sorry Sean, I have to actually correct something you says earlier on there. Right. Aye. Give me a shout when you're ready. The procurator in rem suum is a lawyer. It's a Scots legal term. It's also a Scots lawful term. I'm a welder. I'm an engineer. I'm also procurator in rem suum. I'm a lawyer in my own right. And when you go into the court, we only have what I'll loosely, you're arguing into their jurisdiction, that you've got to actually protect yourself. You've got to put a shield around you when you walk into their jurisdiction. Is a lot of the ones you'll see, a lot of the stuff you see in the net, you're construed as being given your acquiescence. If you want to look at Scots law, it's more acquiescence and taciturnity. More is the oldest one, circa 1640 was the first time it came about. They all mean the same thing, silence of the creditor. Because you walk in there as they want their credit off of you. So if you want to get in there and you want to actually stay as the creditor and not the debitor, you've got to enforce what you're saying. As I said, the only thing that we actually use as a template is a stat dec. As Teresa says earlier, I'll say that in full sense there, a statutory declaration pursuant to the Statutory Declaration Act of 1835. Anybody wants to go and look it up, that's what you're looking at. So that is their application if you want to go in there. So you go in there and you put in the statutory declaration. It's on one page and that's your court. It's one bit of paper. The first part is 3 paragraphs on one page. The first paragraph states exactly who you are. I'm the son of my father, as yours are the sons and daughters of your fathers. It's a fact that can't be argued. The second part here, as I like to phrase it as, that's the playing field that you're going to work in with them. It's your Human Rights Declaration in 1948, specifically 1948. You don't want to touch the one from 1998 because it's no worth the paper it's written on. I could go into it, but I'll probably earn my 2 minutes as it is, you know. I've got a good judge of time. Oh, passed, sorry. Nah, you can shove it. I'm not being cheeky. Somebody tried to give me about half a dozen of them last week. Some of them actually quite expensive ones, but no interest. Anyway, right, so the second paragraph on this bit of paper, the second part that ties them down is the Bangalore Principles of Judicial Conduct 2002, specifically paragraphs 5 and the questions that are, the statements that are in it that they're bound by. At the end of that paragraph, there's a question. What I suggest to folk is, when you get to that end bit of that second paragraph, is to pause for between 3 to 5 seconds. The reason for that is there probably no way to actually answer it. And what you're doing is playing with them with their aim, mora, acquiescence and taciturnity by their silent agreement. The third and final paragraph is the challenge, and that challenge is directly under their rules. The Criminal Procedure Scotland Act 1995 provides a challenge that the person appearing in court is presumed to be the person charged, comma, unless challenged, full stop. That's it, verbatim. So you challenging the fact that you're not the person charged. It's the Criminal Procedure Scotland Act 1995. Procedure Scotland Act 1995. Okay? Right, so that's your direct challenge into that. When the last time that Sean done it, the sheriff actually agreed with this statutory declaration basically says that you know that person. This was where Sean still knew it, he was only doing it for 2-3 months. He missed the opportunity to take that a little bit further. He should have been going, thanks very much, and he didn't. You stating that very fact, you stated that I know that person in that document is actually verification there. You need to get into this legal debate on proving to them that you can't be that person. The next bit, if you get into the legal debate with them, the document that you're needing for their statutes is the 1978 Interpretation Act. If you want to take a look at that. Look at section 20.5 of the Interpretation Act in 1978. It states quite clearly in it, and it's the definition of person. The definition of person is either a body incorporate or unincorporated. Are any use a company? Many, as far as I'm aware, they've got a company. The bit that you're actually... What was that? Oh, right, that kind of company. Oh, right, that's quite good company. That kind of company I can actually bear. So, right, okay, well, that there, right, wrap it at that if everybody actually wants, because there's a wee bit more that I'd like to get into it, so we're going to run on a wee bit. This is if you want to get into the court and play with them. There's another application that Gary was up here before me likes to apply, and it's basically you don't go. The last time I got a document through for the Procurator Fiscal, which was a short time ago there, it's about 2 months ago, maybe 3 at the most, I sent it back to them basically stating the cover note in it, sorry, I can't accept your offer to attend at this time as it would be inappropriate for me to attend. And that was all it says on it. I sent it back. It didn't go anywhere. It never get called because they don't want really to play that much with me, and they knew they were going to get a wee bit of hassle because a lot of the time I've been in the court, I've been very, very belligerent with them. The last time I mentioned, you find this actually quite hard to believe. If you don't go to a court, they put out a warrant for non-appearance. I've got the grand figure in 10 warrants for non-appearance. The funny bit is, I was standing in front of them when we issued them. 10 of them. So they used to lift me there and then. The last one, when I spoke to the sheriff, I went, pointed at me, you cannot object. So I didn't say no, and I just lifted all the stuff and walked out. The policeman in the court opened the door, he let me out. Right, so anybody want to ask me, I'll see what I...
Is there any questions for Marla?
I'll do my best to actually answer these. And what you've got to remember, as I always say, it's just my opinion. Right. Well, right,
does it make any difference if you've accepted that name before in court?
No.
None at all.
Every appearance that you make in the court is a brand new case. It doesn't matter if it's the same action. Every time, say you walk into the court, you're in there for a couple of minutes, they say, right, we jump and walk back in. Right, go back in again. It's all in the case. It just starts again. That's as simple as that. Like it. Yep. Well, it was part of my discussion with Sheriff called Alistair Watson. I presented that to him. I didn't actually present any paperwork. That was a mistake I made. His answer back to me was, I don't believe you. But because I never presented the court to him the bit of paper, the voice disappeared. Can you catch my voice as it goes by? That's simple. It disappears. That's when you get recorded. But as if my voice is when you're recording. I take a photo of you. Right? Aye. I take a photo of you and I present it to you and I say to you, is that you? What are you going to say? Naughty what? Subject matter jurisdiction. You recognise the photograph. You should not look at it. Blanket. Total. Don't even see it. You come up to me in the court, they try to serve me the same as they did with Peter, documents in the court. I did what the Red Indians did. I don't see it. I do not recognise you. Standing right in front of you, how can you not see them? Because you look through them. It's that simple. Perception.
Here, Nala.
Right.
Nala, it's just to ask you, what is the significance of that word, or the words you stated, I object? You obviously meant to mean something, you meant it to be have a power. Can you just tell us what that means? I object.
The I object is the phrase that you use to stop what was just said. That's the meaning of it. Folk used to come about and they would say objection. In legalese, objection means you've just agreed to what's just been said. So the proper term that you want to stop what's being said and block it, I object. Then you say why, your reason behind why you object. Look, my last time in the court in front of Sheriff Watson, when he went to issue a warrant, I object. I'm making a challenge against the presumption that this court acts in that I'm the person charged. He was being belligerent himself, and he just says to me, you can't object. So as I say, I just lifted my stuff and walked. The police, as I say, he opened the door and let me out. I thought I was getting a bit where he was coming out of my back and he was going to grab a hold of me as they did just about every other time before it. I used to just walk out the courtroom and then just stand there and go, fuck me, it'll take them 5 minutes and they'll come and get me. Because I wasn't running away from them. I was just waiting them. That's it. I object as a block on what's just been said in the court. That's the significance of it. You can't use any other phrase. What comes after that is your reasoning for that objection. Right.
Excellent.
Anything else? And working with them, it's you Human Rights Declaration in 1948, specifically 1948. You don't want to touch the one for 1998 because it's no worth the paper it's written on. I could specifically in 1948. You don't want to touch the one for it's Human Rights Declaration in 19 phrase. I owe you an apology. No, I wasn't expecting this. What is he on about? And you get into a discussion a wee bit more about the week before. He said, it seems you're right, so I have to actually thank you for educating me on Scots law. We then get into a discussion a wee bit more about the Scots law bit, and the trial was supposed to go ahead that morning. It didn't go ahead, it stopped there and then. That trial never went anywhere, it just stopped dead at that point, because I use Scots law.